So let us start this lecture. So this is the second lecture on isomorphism theorems. So if you remember in the first two lectures, we proved in the first lecture we proved first and second isomorphism theorems. Now we are going to discuss the remaining isomorphism theorems. So before going into the isomorphism theorems, first let me give some definitions. Okay, so a definition. Suppose that B is a subset. B is a subset of an algebra A, and theta is a congruence on A, and theta is a congruence on this algebra A. Then I define this set B theta. It is actually collection. It is the union of the theta classes of elements of B. So it is actually what? It is those A in A such that the intersection of their classes with B is non-empty. And since classes are either equal or disjoint, so you can just say that B theta is actually the collection of the theta classes of elements of B. So B in B by theta. And this is B theta. Okay. So and let this B theta, big B theta, is a subalgebra of A, with universe this set B theta. Okay. Now you can prove that this B theta is actually a sub-universe of A. So before saying that B theta is a subalgebra of A with universe B theta, you must ensure that this B theta is a sub-universe of A. I will prove later on it. This one, B theta is a sub-universe of A. Once B theta is a sub-universe of A, so it is a universe in itself. So I can just take an algebra whose universe is this B theta. I can take a subalgebra of A whose universe is this set B theta. Okay. Also define this theta restricted on B. This congruence theta restricted on B. This is what? This is actually theta intersection B square. That is the restriction of theta to B. The restriction of theta to B. Now we can easily see that this theta restricted on B is a congruence on B. In fact, we have a lemma which actually gives us two things. First, this one, that this B theta, which was a subset of B, which was a subset of this algebra A, the collection of the theta clauses of elements of B. So it is a sub-universe of A. So the first part of this lemma, B theta is a sub-universe of A. Okay, if B theta is sub-universe of A, so it is a universe. So I can just take the sub-algebra whose universe is B theta. Sub-algebra of A whose universe is B theta. Okay, and secondly, I will show that this theta restricted on B is a congruence on B. Is a congruence on B. Is a congruence on this algebra B. Okay, so there are two things to be proven. So first I will show that it is a sub-universe. So proof. Now suppose so for it to be a sub-universe, it should be closed under any n-ray operation of this A. So let f be any n-ray function symbol. N-ray function symbol. So let A1, A2, so on, An are in B. B theta, sorry, B theta. Okay. Now B theta is what? B theta is union of the elements and the union of the theta clauses of elements B. B by theta. So they are element in B theta. Means what? Means what? You can find some elements. You will find some elements B1, B2, so on, Bn, such that this A1 is theta related with B1, A2 is theta related with B2, so on, An is theta related with Bn. So there exists B1, B2, so on, Bn belonging to B, such that this AI comma Bi, it belongs to theta where 1 is less than or equal to I, less than or equal to n. And theta is a congruence. So since theta is a congruence, since theta belongs to congruences on A, so therefore you have this. This implies that Fa comma Fa of this A1, so on, An, theta has the substitution property. Fa of B1, so on, Bn, it belongs to theta. It belongs to theta. Okay, it belongs to theta. So this means what? This means this element Fa of this A1, so on, An, it actually belongs to B theta. It belongs to B theta. It belongs to B theta. So thus this B theta is a sub-universe of A. So thus B theta is a sub-universe of A. So once it is a sub-universe, you can take this capital B theta as an algebra with universe this set b theta. Now second part, that this congruence theta restricted on B is again a congruence on B. Second part, so I have to show that this theta restricted on B is a congruence on B. So for that, let's say I have AI comma BI belong to, so they belong to this theta restricted on B, theta restricted on B, where 1 is less than or equal to I, less than or equal to N. So theta restricted on B is actually what? Theta intersection B square. So this means they are theta related and they are actually members of B. They are members of B. Okay. So this means what? AI comma BI, they are in theta, and the pairs AI comma BI, they are in B square. Means that is, you can say that this AI BI, they belong to B, where 1 less than or equal to I, less than or equal to N. Now AI BI belong to theta, and theta is a congruence. So this means for any n-array operation f of this a1 so on an comma f of b1 so on bn, it belongs to theta. Okay, it belongs to theta. Now you can take fb here because we are actually, or you can take a as well, no problem. So I have to show that theta restricted on B is a congruence on B, this algebra B. So it means I have to choose operation on this algebra. So therefore I should have here B. I should have here B. Okay. So this means what? So this means so it belongs to theta. Now these AI BI, they are in B. They are in B. And B is a sub algebra. So therefore this FA of A1 so on AN, they are in B because it's a sub algebra. FB of this, and FB of this B1 so on BN, it should also be in, because it's a sub algebra, so it's closed with respect to the operations of A while restricted on B. So this means this pair FB of this A1 so on AN comma FB of B1 so on Bn, it then belongs to B square. Okay, it belongs to B square. Once it belongs to B square, it is already in theta. So this means what? This means this FB of A1 so on AN comma FB of B1 so on Bn, it belongs to theta intersection B square, and which is nothing but theta restricted on B. So therefore, this theta restricted on B has the substitution property. It is clearly an equivalence relation. It is equivalence on B because it is equivalence on A, so therefore it is also equivalence on B. Okay, but this shows that it has the compatibility property, so therefore it's a congruence on B. So thus theta restricted theta restricted on B is a congruence on the algebra B. So we have proven these two things. Now we are ready to prove the third isomorphism theorem for algebras, for a universal algebra. So this is the statement. So third isomorphism theorem. Third isomorphism theorem. Let B be a subalgebra of A. Let B be a subalgebra of A and theta a congruence on A and theta a congruence on A, congruence on A, then B theta. We know that B theta is a subalgebra of B with universe B theta. So B theta, our theta are restricted on B theta. Okay. This is isomorphic to algebra B. Our theta restricted on B. So these two algebras, they are isomorphic. Okay. These two algebras are isomorphic. Now here I have shown that this theta restricted on B is a congruence on B. It is also a congruence on B theta. You can also prove this one. That theta restricted on B is a congruence. I have shown that theta restricted on B is a congruence on B. So you can just extend this. Theta restricted on B theta is a congruence on the algebra B theta. You can do this on similar lines. So if it is a congruence, then I can take the quotient algebra here. Okay. And this congruence, so and this congruence, this algebra and this algebra theorem says that these two algebras, they are isomorphic. Okay. Now let us see the proof. Now I have to define a mapping from here to here, which is an isomorphism. So let us see how do I do. I will take the composition of, so I know that, so we know that, so there is always a inclusion map from a smaller algebra to a bigger algebra. So this B, the algebra B is a subset. It is contained in the algebra B theta. And from B theta to the quotient B theta over this, our theta restricted on B theta, we have the natural projection. Okay. Now call this composition from here to here as F. So F is the composition of, so I'm defining F from here to here. Okay. F is the composition of an inclusion and a natural projection. Natural. Now F is a homomorphism because inclusion is always a homomorphism, and natural projection we know that it is a homomorphism. Clearly F is a homomorphism. Clearly F is a homomorphism. F is a homomorphism. Okay. Now F is also surjective. Now to see that F is surjective, choose a typical element of choose a typical element of the algebra B theta over theta restricted on B theta. Okay. Now what is the typical element of this? Say typical element of this algebra is A over, so it would be a class A over theta restricted on B theta. Okay. So this means A belongs to B theta here. That is to say that A belongs to B theta. And by definition of B theta, A would be, B theta is the collection of theta classes of elements of B. So this means there exists some B in B such that A is theta related with B, A theta B. But then this class A over theta restricted on B theta. So since A is theta related to B, so therefore these two classes are same. B over theta restricted to B theta. Okay, they are same. And this is nothing but F of B, because I have this natural projection from B to B by this B theta to this, the quotient algebra B theta over theta restricted on B theta. Okay. So for any class here, I can find some B in B side that this class is equal to F of B. So this shows that F is surjective. So thus F is surjective. Thus F is surjective. Now by first isomorphism theorem or by fundamental homomorphism theorem, so by fundamental homomorphism theorem, your be our kernel of this homomorphism F, be our kernel of F is isomorphic to B theta, our theta restricted on B theta. Now if I show that kernel of F is this theta restricted on B, then my job is done. Now let us see what is kernel of F. Kernel of F is, by definition, it is B comma B dash belongs to B square such that F of B is same as F of B dash. Now what is F of B? F is actually the composition. And F is the any element of B here goes to this one. So this means, and F is also surjective. So this means it is B comma B dash belonging to B square such that the class B by theta restricted on B theta is same as B dash over theta restricted on B theta. Okay. And this is same as B comma B dash belonging to B square such that the class B over theta restricted on B, because B theta is actually the collection of the theta classes of elements of B. So therefore this is same as B dash over theta restricted on B. Okay, so so this means what? This means those elements of B which are actually theta B related. Okay, so it is actually B comma B dash belonging to B square such that B theta restricted on B related to B dash. So therefore it is nothing but, it is by definition it is nothing but theta restricted on B. So my job is done. So I have shown that kernel of F is this one. Okay, so I can, so this means I can say that B over theta restricted on B is isomorphic to B theta over theta restricted on B theta. So this proves this theorem. Now let us see that whether this theorem is in line with well-known theorem, third isomorphism theorem for other algebras, say for example special algebras, say for example groups or rings, or in other words, can we deduce those theorems from this theorem? Yes, of course. Let us see how. Now what is third isomorphism theorem for groups? So third isomorphism theorem for groups states that third isomorphism theorem for groups. What is the statement? G is a group. H and N are subgroups of G or subgroups of G with N normal in G, with N normal in G. Then theorem says that this Hn is normal in G, Hn is normal in G, N is normal in Hn, and the quotient group Hn by N is isomorphic to H over H intersection N. This is the third isomorphism theorem for groups. Okay. Now, obviously, I can replace this N by a congruence theta. So if we translate it into a statement of universal algebra, means if we translate it in terms of this proven theorem, this one. Okay, how do we translate it? So I have to replace this N by a congruence. So N can be replaced by a congruence theta. Okay, so I can replace this by theta, and H is a sub algebra, so I can replace it by beta. H is a subgroup, so it's beta. Now H intersection N. So H intersection N is a normal subgroup of H. You can check this. So just as we have seen that this theta restricted on B was what? If you see here, yes, theta restricted on B was what? Theta restricted on B was theta intersection B square. So means theta restricted on H, theta restricted on B. So this can play the role of this H intersection N can play the role of this theta restricted on B. Okay, and N, now N is a normal subgroup of Hn also. It is a congruence of theta. It is a normal subgroup of G, but we also say that it is a normal subgroup of Hn. N is normal subgroup of Hn. Now, if I know how to deal with this Hn, I can think of having some appropriate quotient here. Okay. So right hand side is done. So I have here B sub algebra over theta restricted on B. Now what is the right hand side algebra? Now what is Hn here? Hn is, if you remember, it is union H in H n. Means what? Means the congruence clauses of where any Hn where this Hn is the congruence clause, or you can say the coset of H mod n, coset of H in n, congruence clause of H in n. Now if you remember, what was the B theta? The B theta that we defined. B theta was union of B belonging to B by theta. Means I was taking the theta classes of B, theta class of B in B, means the theta classes of elements of B. Okay. So it is in line with this Hn is actually in line of this B theta. Okay. So I can replace here this by B theta, and n is a normal subgroup of Hn. So I can replace it by theta restricted on B theta. Okay, so I can translate this third isomorphism theorem for groups, or in other words, I can deduce the third isomorphism theorem for groups from this proven theorem, third isomorphism theorem of universal algebra. Okay, so this was the third isomorphism theorem. Now there is a well-known theorem, sometimes we call it a correspondence theorem or fourth isomorphism theorem. What is that? What is the fourth isomorphism theorem or correspondence theorem? So before going into that theorem, just let me give a definition. So we have already defined the closed interval. Okay, closed interval of a poset. So for a closed interval a comma b, so for this a closed interval of a lattice interval of a lattice L, no, of a lattice L, let I of a comma b, I of a comma b denote the corresponding sublattice of L. Denote the corresponding sublattice of L. Now, if you remember, what is this closed interval? Like if you have a poset P and this closed interval AB is what? It is the set of elements of X such that A less than or equal to X less than or equal to B. And it is a subposet. It is in fact a chain subposet poset of P. Now, if I take L as a lattice, then it would form a sublattice. So I denote that corresponding sublattice by I of A comma B. Okay, and we know that this delta A is what? It is the largest equivalence relation on A, largest congruence on A. Okay, it is the universal congruence. Universal congruence on algebra A means it contains all the congruences. Okay, now we are ready to prove the corresponding fourth isomorphism theorem or correspondence theorem. Correspondence theorem. So let A be an algebra, be an algebra, and theta is any congruence on A. Theta belongs to the lattice of congruences on A. Also let Q from this algebra A to the quotient algebra A mod theta be the canonical homomorphism or the natural homomorphism. Canonical homomorphism. Then the induced homomorphism cap Q forward arrow. We have already defined these type of maps previously. So Q forward arrow is the latest isomorphism, is a latest isomorphism of this lattice I of theta delta A, means the lattice of congruences which are in between theta and delta A, which are lattice of congruences which contain theta, lattice of congruences which contains theta, because delta A is the biggest congruence. So I am saying that those congruences which contains theta and which are smaller than this universal congruence. So this induced homomorphism Q forward arrow is a lattice isomorphism of this lattice. This lattice is of course contained in the lattice of congruences on of A. So from this lattice to the lattice of with the lattice of congruences on A by theta. So and mapping psi to psi by theta. Mapping psi to psi by theta. Okay. So this Q, which is a natural canonical homomorphism, from this Q, the induced map Q bar, this Q forward arrow, is a lattice isomorphism from this lattice, those congruences of A which contain theta to the lattice of congruences of A by theta. And how do we define it? Any congruence psi which contains theta is mapped to the congruence psi by theta. We know that psi by theta is a congruence on A by theta. Okay, so this is the statement of this theorem. Now let us see how do we prove it. So proof. Suppose you take any element psi here in this lattice. Suppose psi belongs to this lattice of congruences theta delta A. Okay, that is psi is a congruence on A and psi contains theta. That is psi belongs to the lattice of congruences on A and psi contains theta. Now recall that if I have a mapping F from a set A to a set B, be a mapping, then I can define this F forward arrow from the set of subsets of A to the set of subsets of B by F forward arrow of any X, where X is a subset of A, goes to its image. It goes to this set F of X such that X belongs to X. That is, this is its image. And F backward arrow of X is its actually reverse image. F backward arrow of X would be from the set of subsets of B to the set of subsets of A, and every element of this goes to its pre-image. So any subset of B goes to its pre-image under this mapping F. So it is it is actually what? So this, and this is equal to y, where y is what? Y is no. So y actually goes to its pre-image. So A in A such that f of A is in Y. So in other words, this is its pre-image. Okay, and we have seen certain properties of these maps. So we can carry forward this to lattices instead of taking subset simply mapping. If we take a lattice mapping between two lattices, F is a mapping or sorry, if F is a lattice homomorphism, then these maps are actually, they are mean preserving as well as joint preserving. Or in other words, you can say that they are also lattice isomorphisms. So also this also if F from a lattice L to a lattice L dash is a lattice homomorphism, then these maps F forward arrow and F backward arrow are order preserving or order preserving. So they are also lattice morphism. That is lattice morphisms. Okay. No, by definition of Q, so I have Q from here. Q is a mapping from an algebra A. Lattice is also an algebra. So so if Q is a mapping from A to A by theta, then what is Q forward arrow? Okay. So by definition of Q, this Q of A is actually what? A by theta. Okay. So Q, if I take Q forward arrow of psi, so Q forward arrow of psi would be nothing but psi by theta. Okay, from here, Q forward arrow of psi would be psi by theta. Since Q bar, Q forward arrow and Q backward arrow are both order preserving, they are both order preserving. We simply need to show that this Q forward arrow is bijection. We wish to show that Q forward arrow is a bijection. But we also know that from when we discussed these type of maps, we stated a remark which says that, so by that remark, we know that now we know that since this Q bar is surjective, this Q is surjective, so therefore Q forward arrow is also surjective. Okay. So when we have a surjection, then you have their composition is identity. So we know that by that remark, Q forward arrow composition Q backward arrow is the identity map. Is the identity map. Why? Because actually we are using this remark. So we have proven a remark. So for general relations, you have this one. So we have actually seen that this was the remark, one of the parts of this remark, that F forward arrow composition F backward arrow of any X is a subset of X, and F backward arrow composition F forward arrow of any Z contains Z. And here you have, instead of having inclusions, you have proper inequalities if this F forward arrow is if F is surjective. If F is surjective here and here, F should be injective. Now if you remember, our Q is surjective because it's a natural projection. It's a surjective map. So therefore this Q forward arrow composition Q backward arrow is the identity map. Okay. Now for the other direction, for the other direction, if I take A comma B belonging to Q backward arrow composition Q forward arrow of any psi, because Q acts on congruencies, so I have to take this type of inclusion, which is equal to Q backward arrow of Q forward arrow of psi. Now A comma B belongs to Q backward arrow of something. This is if and only if, by definition of Q backward arrow, if and only if Q of A comma Q of B belongs to this Q forward arrow of psi. Okay. And Q forward arrow of psi is actually, now this Q of A is what? Q of A is A by theta. Q of B is B by theta. And Q forward arrow of psi is actually psi by theta. So if and only if this belongs to psi by theta. And this is if and only if, by definition of psi by theta, if and only if A comma B belongs to psi. So A comma B belongs to this one if and only if A comma B belongs to psi. So therefore I can say that this also fixes psi. So therefore this is also the identity map. So therefore Q backward arrow composition Q forward arrow is also the identity map. Identity map. So therefore Q bar is the required lattice isomer. So this Q backward arrow is actually the inverse of Q forward arrow. So therefore Q forward arrow is the required lattice isomorphism. Required lattice is the required lattice isomorphism. Okay. So there is an isomorphism between the lattice of congruencies of A containing theta to the lattice of congruencies of A by theta. Now we have similar correspondence theorems for groups. So there is a one-to-one correspondence between the subgroups of A containing kernel of some homomorphism, है ना? यहाँ here you have theta is actually kernel of Q. So if you remember, for groups you have, there's a one-to-one correspondence. In fact, there is an isomorphism, or you can say one-to-one correspondence between the subgroups of the group G containing kernel of a homomorphism if I have F from a group G to a group G dash is a homomorphism of groups with K equal to kernel of F, K equal to kernel of F. Then there is a one-to-one correspondence between the subgroups of G containing kernel of F to the subgroups of the quotient group G by kernel of F. So we have a similar sort of situations here. There is an isomorphism of congruencies of A containing theta with the congruencies of A by theta. So you can deduce those theorems from this one. So I leave as an exercise, deduce the correspondence theorems for groups and rings from the above theorem. So I end this lecture. So this brings us to the end of this lecture. So